At one point in Mortal Kombat 11, Jax, who is Earthrealm's defender, agreed to help the villain erase reality. You see, he'd already been mind-controlled twice and clawed his way back both times. But this was different. This time, he chose it. He looked at Kronika, trying to wipe out everyone, and joined her. Now that's how broken this franchise made him. He's been broken more times than any character in this story, and in the current timeline, he was erased, almost completely. So let me walk you through all of it. Let's start at the beginning, back when Jax still had his own arms. Jax, who is Jackson Briggs, first appeared in Mortal Kombat 2 as a major in the US Special Forces, and at this point, he's just a guy. A big one, I'd say. His whole story was more like a rescue mission, because Sonya had gone missing at the end of the first tournament while tracking down the leader of the Black Dragon crime syndicate. And after receiving a sudden distress signal from Sonya, Jax traces her path to the chaotic realm of Outworld. He enters the second tournament under the firm belief that she is still alive and being held captive. Upon crossing over, Jax realized that it wasn't a standard military rescue mission, because Earthrealm's finest warriors were being hunted by Shao Kahn's executioners, and survival meant playing by Outworld's rules. Now, to get close to the Emperor and locate Sonya, Jax had to fight his way through the brutal tournament by relying on his physical strength. Along the way, he allied with Liu Kang and Johnny Cage, and every battle took him closer to Shao Kahn's arena, where Sonya was chained up as a trophy. Now this forced Jax to push past human limits. And then Mortal Kombat 3 happens, and the metal arms show up. The problem with this is, in the game itself, there's almost no explanation. One day Jax has flesh arms, the next he's got bionic plating, and Midway decided it looked cool. Kano had a metal eye, so why not give Jax metal arms? That was the actual logic. Now, the story kinda justified it because when Jax saw Shao Kahn's invasion coming, he tried to warn his superiors, but they didn't listen. They thought he had lost his mind. After knowing the government won't help him, Jax realized that he and Sonya were on their own. He looked at a war, and he knew what was coming. So he decided his human body wasn't enough to win it, and that's how he got the metal arms in MK3. It sounds crazy on paper, but it actually worked for him because he fought through Shao Kahn's invasion, and after the war, he and Sonya found the OIA. Now Jax goes from muscle to commander, and he's the one running the operations now. In Deadly Alliance, he sends agents like Kenshi into Outworld, and the franchise teaches him his first real lesson. Jax recruited Su Hao, but unfortunately, he was actually a deep-cover double agent working for the Red Dragon clan. Now while Jax got distracted, Su Hao detonated a massive nuclear device inside the OIA underground headquarters, completely destroying their interdimensional portal technology, killing dozens of agents, and completely stranding Kenshi out in Outworld without any communication lines or backup. That isolation got Kenshi ambushed and nearly beaten to death by another villain named Mavado. Now Jax survived the blast, but he was completely consumed by guilt, because he trusted Su Hao, and that trust took lives and crippled Earthrealm's defense networks. Raiden summoned Earthrealm's strongest warriors to travel to Outworld to confront the Deadly Alliance. But Jax didn't care about saving the universe at first. He accepts the mission for one sole reason: to hunt down Su Hao, who has fled to Outworld to meet up with his Red Dragon leader, Mavado. Jax completely bypassed standard military protocol and tracked down Su Hao across the Outworld wasteland, and executed him in one of the most brutal ways, leaving him to bleed out in the dirt. But it didn't end there. With his personal vengeance satisfied, Jax finally redirected his focus to helping Raiden, Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Kung Lao assault Shang Tsung's palace to stop the Deadly Alliance from resurrecting Onaga's invincible army. Unfortunately, this is where Jax's story gets extremely bad. The combined magical might of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi got overwhelming, and in the final desperate battle outside the Solnado, Jax got overpowered and killed alongside Sonya and Johnny Cage. And then the franchise resurrects him, but not as himself. In Deception, Jax's story gets incredibly dark. Because he was killed at the end of Deadly Alliance, he doesn't enter this game as a hero. Onaga the Dragon King raised the dead heroes as revenants who were mind-controlled corpses. This time, Jax kills for Onaga. Eventually, Ermac and Liu Kang stepped up to save him during a massive conflict. They successfully ambushed Onaga's enslaved strike force using a combination of soul magic and spiritual energy, and they managed to shatter the mind control spell, freeing Jax and the others from Onaga's grasp. But, unfortunately, there's a but here. There was one detail that started a whole new pattern. Every other hero who got turned into a revenant and got restored came back fine, except Jax. Jax was the only one who came back broken. He became the only restored Revenant in this entire era who developed an actual psychosis from it. He kept the memories of every evil thing he did as Onaga's puppet, and his mind couldn't carry them. And there's no in-story reason for that. Nobody explains why Jax specifically cracks when everyone else walks it off. The only explanation that makes sense is the one the writers never say out loud. Out of everyone, the universe decided Jax was the one whose mind feels it the most, which is a wild thing to do to the character most fans write off as the muscle. They picked the strong, silent soldier and made him the one who breaks. And honestly, that's one interesting thing the early games did with him. But they never followed up on it for 15 years. Now Armageddon comes, and it's the big one. Every character alive, dead, or in between throws down in one final battle, and Jax joins the forces of light. He fights, and he even breaks Quan Chi's leg in the brawl, until Shao Kahn killed him. That's not even the insult. The insult is what they do with his body when Mortal Kombat 9 opens. The very first thing you see is the aftermath of Armageddon, a battlefield of corpses, and there, in the background, is Jax's dead body used as set dressing. Anyways, that wraps it for the original timeline, but they were just getting warmed up, because in this timeline reset, everything started over and NetherRealm had a chance to give this guy a normal life, but instead, the franchise found a worse way to take his arms. But I know you will find the best way to support me, and that's by hitting the like and subscribe button. In MK9, Sonya goes missing in Outworld, and Jax follows in to get her back because once again, she got captured. She eventually got rescued after a series of fights, and that's not where the breaking is, because instead of willingly getting bionic upgrades after the tournament like he did in the old timeline, it happens in the worst way ever. Jax faces Ermac, and during their fight, Ermac uses his overwhelming telekinetic powers to clamp down on Jax's arms and brutally rip them completely off his body. I think that single change tells you everything about how the reboot saw Jax. Original Jax was a soldier who made himself a weapon, and MK9 Jax is a soldier the universe keeps doing things to. He did survive the arm ripping and gets the iconic cybernetic metal arms he wears for the rest of the game. From a tactical upgrade in the original timeline to a medical necessity in this timeline. Now Jax had barely had time to adjust to his new arms before Shao Kahn launched his invasion of Earthrealm. While Raiden and Liu Kang were away trying to reason with the Elder Gods, Shao Kahn's brainwashed wife Sindel ambushed Earthrealm's defenders and slaughtered most of the heroes. And you probably guessed right, Jax was one of them. By the end of the game, Quan Chi returns him to a Revenant again. He spends the next stretch of years as Quan Chi's slave, killing for the NetherRealm, completely against his will. The franchise made him a mind-controlled puppet in both timelines. Whatever reality you're in, Jax ends up serving the enemy with someone else's hand on the controls, until MKX picks up 25 years later, and here's where, for the first and only time, the franchise gives Jax something good. Raiden restored the Revenants when Shinnok got defeated, and Jax is alive and is restored again. Within the 25 years gap, he had left the Special Forces and became a farmer. He also started a family with his wife Vera and daughter Jackie. Finally, the franchise gave him peace, but this is Mortal Kombat. Sonya and Johnny Cage went back to Jax and convinced him to join them in stopping Quan Chi. His daughter gets pulled into the same world that broke him. The peace lasts about one cutscene before the franchise reaches in and starts dismantling it. And the most human thing they ever wrote for Jax is right here. His relationship with Jackie is somehow strained. He's overprotective to the point of pushing her away. He does not want her joining the Special Forces because he knows exactly what it costs. He's died for it twice and come back wrong. But she joins anyway. And you get this tension that any kid of a combat veteran will recognize instantly. A broken father trying to stop his daughter from becoming the thing that broke him, and failing, because she's just as stubborn as he is. That's the cruelest trick MKX plays. It gives Jax a family, and then uses it as the next thing to threaten him. Then, Mortal Kombat 11 arrived, and this time the franchise didn't just hurt Jax, it made him hurt everyone else. Somewhere between MK10 and MK11, Vera died. This happened off-screen, by the way. By MK11, Jax is a grieving widower, and he's estranged from Jackie. The old PTSD from being a Revenant never left, and now it's back. Now, that's the man Kronika finds. Easy target, I'd say. Kronika is the Keeper of Time, and the major villain of MK11, and she comes to Jax with an offer tailored exactly to the shape of his wound. Now, Jax agrees with her offer, and what's crazy about this is that this wasn't even a mind control, because he had already been mind controlled twice in the original timeline. That was him awake and accepting her offer without thinking twice. And it gets worse, because of who he has to face. Kronika's time fracturing pulls a younger Jax out of the past. A Jax who hasn't been through any of this yet. And the present-day broken Jax ends up fighting against his own daughter and his own younger self. Now, hold that feeling, because as bad as MK11 is to Jax, the next game found a way to break him even worse. And this is even without laying a finger on him. We'll get there. Eventually, Fujin and Raiden and his own younger self and Jackie pull him back. He turns on Kronika and helps them win. Happy ending, I guess. Until Liu Kang rebuilt the universe from scratch. At the end of MK11, Liu Kang becomes a god and rebuilds reality. Almost everyone in the new era had a new story to tell, except Jax. In Mortal Kombat 1, Jax isn't a main character. He's not even a full fighter. He's a cameo. And if you haven't played MK1, cameos are the gameplay assists in the game, more like extras that don't matter to the story. Now, you don't pick Jax and play as Jax. You pick a real character, and you can call Jax in for a quick move, like a tool. He has no story role in the campaign or relationships that the main story bothers to explore. He only shows up in matches as an accessory, and then he's gone after a few seconds. And you know what? Making Jax a cameo is worse than killing him. Think about it. When this franchise kills a character, that death means something. It's a moment. Death is a kind of respect. It says you were important enough to mourn. A cameo is the opposite. A cameo says your 30 years of story aren't worth retelling. It says we'll keep your face around for the old fans who'll get a little nostalgia hit when they see you, but we're not going to write you a single line that matters. You're a cameo with a K. I think the MK1 reduction is quite insulting in this story, and it's insulting precisely because it's so quiet. Most people playing MK1 right now have no idea any of this happened. To a new player, Jax is the metal arm guy you can tag in. They don't know about Vera, they don't know he took Kronika's deal. They don't know he's the only Revenant who came back broken, or that he modified his own body for a war nobody believed in. NetherRealm Studios kept his image and erased his importance. And it did it so smoothly that the newest fans don't even know there's anything to miss. I hope there's a continuation of the MK1 story, and maybe him as a cameo is a hint he'll be a main character in the next game. In the end, I think MK11 is the best Jax has ever been written. For 30 years, he was the metal arm guy and all that, until MK11 finally stopped pretending he was fine. It looked at everything that had happened to him and treated it like it would actually do to a person. The grief, the PTSD, the way trauma makes you reach for any deal that promises it never happened. That's real MK11 Jax. Is the best grief arc in the story. And it's only good because they finally let him break out loud instead of bolting more metal on and calling him strong. So, I want to know what you think. Does Jax deserve a real story again in the next game, or do you think he's done? Drop it all in the comments because I can't wait to read them. And that will be it for now. I'm Joe, and I'll see you in the next one.